Hello friends, this is David White, and before you start listening to this episode, I just had a little bit of a warning because our audio quality for this episode is not what you are used to. Unfortunately, when we went to record these episodes with Jaime down in Austin, I did not check GarageBand, and I did not realize that this episode was being recorded through my Mac microphone instead of our microphone setup. That being said, there is some still really great content in this episode, and I hope that you can look past the audio quality shoddiness to enjoy this episode. So thank you for listening, and once again, I apologize for the audio quality. Enjoy.
Hello friends, this is Jaime, and you're listening to the Mistconceptions podcast.
What the hell is that? I don't think I've even heard of this island. Hasn't this place been closed down for years for like ethics violation? Oh, why are we doing this right now? Well, I guess we've seen worse. But I knew we should have stayed home today.
So, is there anything else we need to do? Everybody has some moose sheets. Everybody has dice.
Yep.
Pencil, paper.
I need dice.
Okay.
Jaime needs dice.
I do.
It's not a game night if Jaime doesn't bring his dice.
Hey, they are on my computer.
Look at those nice, specifically built dice.
You have 2 sets of bill dice.
Bought you, and then the first set that we bought you.
Just remember.
I hope they like all the dust that's gathering on them. So previously on Mistconceptions, the crew was caught up in an investigation of the Rat Pack. Their investigation took some violent turns, but eventually it led them to the sewer. By going down into the sewer, the crew found this cavernous basin where the Rat Pack had taken up in. They were living frivolously and childishly, and there were no rules. Through some conversations with the Rat Pack, you found out the Rat Pack was run by a man known only as the Music Man. The Music Man would come every so often, take some of the kids with him, and then sometimes he would bring the kids back, and sometimes not all the children would come back. Through some reasoning, Faye was able to convince X-Man, a student or a kid who had recently joined the Rat Pack, to kind of rethink his decision and leave. And as the crew was about to jet, the Rat Pack returned with a captured kid, and the crew could not leave it be. And so they rescued that child, and as they were, the Rat Pack members kind of turned on them violently. Ren burned one of his power tags to stun everybody, or stun the Rat Pack, so that they could escape. And so they did. Currently, Faye's love interest, Woodard Lockley, and his associate-in-law, Mohammed Katan, are babysitting 3 children because, you know. And the crew has decided they need to find Dr. Pyotr Jacobi, who is seemingly wrapped up in all of this, has seemingly been wrapped up in it since the beginning. Their very first case with the drugs and the and Marcus Malcolm has brought them back to this. So We last left off with you four, stealing a skiff, a little motorboat, and riding out into the harbor. And before I guess we get into it, let's welcome back to the table Jaime Torres.
Yay.
Whoa, you're so much my favorite person in the world. Who said thank you?
It's good to have Jaime at the same table as us, and us all to be together as friends. Also, we got a new crew theme. Do we want to reveal what that is, what the crew theme is?
We do not.
Yes.
We do not condone gang association or violence, but Zach will present the crew theme now.
The crew theme is the game. We will always have each other's backs. There is true friendship. We will lend a hand to each other and the power of deduction. Although our weakness tag is trouble magnets.
And yes, they are. So last session, y'all lost your Conspiracy Busters theme, which I think everybody was unhappy with. And I think everybody is going to be happy with this new theme. So you are riding your skiff out over the water. The waves of the dark harbor water of the city are kind of splashing in your face as you crest one mound into the valley, crest another mound into the valley. And in the distance, an island looms out of the mist. The steel and mortar skeletons of ruinous buildings frame the island, forming a macabre mockery of a cityscape silhouette. On the eastern side of the island is a dock that reaches out in the water like a skeletal hand, eager to snatch a morsel with which to feed the dying island. You have arrived at Dark Water Detention Center.
It's very creepy.
Thank you.
I feel like this whole misconceptions thing has just been a ploy for David to mess with me with the whole Shutter Island thing. So I'm a little disturbed.
Wait, do you not like Shutter Island?
No.
That's my favorite movie.
Is it though?
Yeah, like seriously, I promise.
Whenever we
But
saw
is it real?
I'm convinced that he knows what he did, and he's become delusional on purpose because he can't live with the guilt of everything that happened. Because he talks about he said the monster quote at the end. Y'all seen that?
Did he?
You haven't seen Shutter Island? He said, what's better, to die a hero or to live every day knowing that you're a monster?
Let's talk about this for a second. Do you really think Tessa can handle Shutter Island?
Yeah, it's just suspense. It's not horror.
She doesn't do suspense either.
She loves suspense.
She does not.
Sometimes our show, this podcast, gets too suspenseful for
She
Faye.
drives around on suspension every day.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
Sorry.
y'all are arriving at the island.
It's noir and everything. This is Shutter Island. Okay, sorry.
See, it was all
Can we,
Can we get off the boat?
Sorry, I'm kicking you.
I was asking a question.
And
You did. Why are you so proud of that? It doesn't seem deserted, or like, can we see things or people? Or
It's so the further away you get from the city, away from the docks, the more mist seems to fill your vision. By the time you get out to the island, you can barely see the ruinous building outlines in the dim moonlight, and the mound and shape of the island. Besides that, you can barely see anything from where you are.
So who thought it was a good idea to come at this time of day?
I think you were the one who told us to get on the boat.
I'm pretty sure I didn't. But I really don't remember. So maybe I did. Does anyone have a flashlight?
I have a faint green aura from my weaponry.
I don't want to know about your green aura.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have our phones, so
I can scan the place to see if there's any light forms.
Don't you have night vision, Brandon? You scanner goggles, I thought they're thermal. They're thermal, so don't they?
Yeah, I mean they're thermal, but yeah. I mean, I guess I'll scan the place and see if there's anyone.
All right.
Insert sound effect here.
Yes. There are many life forms on this island.
So here's the fun part: we're not alone. Super great. There's a lot of people here. No idea if they're good or bad.
You said light forms, but not necessarily human.
You didn't hear me.
Oh, go.
There are many life forms here. So,
Bill, since you can like ride clouds and such, can you go up and see?
Is it cloudy outside? Does it look like it's going to start to rain?
No.
Okay.
It's doing rain? Getting rain?
Yeah, I can check it out.
Okay.
Okay.
Nimbus, come. Am I allowed to say that? No, I don't think so.
We will get sued by Saban.
Yeah.
Really, not Saban. Saban's Power Rangers. Anyways.
Nimbus,
Yeah.
come.
Soaring Nimbus. Soaring cumulonimbus come to you. So, your little cloud comes to you. Bill, do you want to just do a quick fly around, or do you want to try to do this stealthily?
I would like to remain stealthed.
Okay.
So, like, low to the water, kind of.
Okay. So, do you want to roll a sneak around?
Yeah.
Okay. What tags could you add?
Stealthy,
Uh-huh.
stay focused.
I would also just like to point out that at least two of you have tags that are just core moves. Like Bill has stealthy, which is basically sneak around. Esther has investigate, which is straight up investigation. I don't know if Ren and Faye have just a core move tag, but I wouldn't be totally surprised.
Do you want us to change it to like sleuth
No.
and slippery?
It's fine. I've learned to live with my regret. So,
So I'm going to do stealthy, stay focused, and
how would stay focused help you sneak?
have you ever tried to sneak unfocused?
Okay.
Although sometimes the more you focus, the more noise you make.
I just feel like if you're trying to sneak around all willy-nilly,
Yeah.
maybe.
Okay. So sneak around with +2?
Okay, I will give you an actual answer.
Okay.
I need to focus while sneaking because I'm relatively new to riding clouds.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to stay as close to the water without touching it, because if I touch the water, I lose cloud because the cloud is moisture.
Yeah.
So I'm just like...
Okay.
You suddenly fall into the water.
I mean, honestly, it could happen if I...
Just from the other side of the island.
If a wave hits my cloud, I'm going into the water. It's just going to take all the moisture back. Alright. I could use... Oh, duh, and I'm using cloud surfing, so that's a tag. Right?
Okay, so 3.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to roll a dynamite. I just know it. I did not. 10.
A 10? Okay. So on a 10 plus, I'm pretty sure you're just able to do it.
Yep, alright.
Okay. So coasting over the rifts and valleys of the cresting waves around the island, you fly around the island. The dock on the east side seems to be the only entrance point. As you drive around, most of the island as you ride your cloud, most of the rest of the island, there is no beach. There is sheer cliff face, and there is rocks. This was a prison island. It makes sense that there would be only one entrance, and it would be hard to access by boat. But as you crest around, most of these buildings are destroyed. You see it kind of rises to a point, and there are some buildings and things, and you see a lighthouse, but the lighthouse isn't lit. But you still see a dim light coming from next to the lighthouse. But as you coast around kind of the edge and bottom of this island, that's kind of what you see. And actually, since you rolled a 10, I'll go ahead and say that as you're coasting, you see like a shark kind of like pass underneath your cloud, and you kind of stop, and you look at the shark, and you see hands and feet, and then it disappears further into the water, out of view.
Wait, I was thinking, did he see me?
He did not see you.
Okay.
There's nothing to indicate that it did see you. You just saw this shark, and you're like, a shark. And you're like, wait, those aren't fins. They're hands and feet. And then it disappears further into the dark water. And you come back around to where the boat is resting out in the harbor water.
All right. Do we have our phones or communicators on still?
I would assume, I cannot remember.
We had like
We don't
XCOM.
have
We
a
invested in
tag.
XCOM things.
Yeah, I don't think we have a tag, but I do think you do have communicators.
Okay.
But I don't think we have like an ongoing status for it. I don't think Ren did that, but I think you do have one.
All right. Y'all hear me?
Yep.
Whisper. Good lord.
What'd you say?
Good. Oh, I hate you so much. Okay, so I think we need to kill the motor because there's experiments swimming around in the water. I just saw a shark man. I don't know if any of you can swim. I don't know what happens when Ren gets wet. But I feel like we should really try to sneak.
I way more when I get wet.
But I think we should try to, as sneakily as possible, get onto the island. There's a dock around the east side, and it looks like the only place we can get on. So I'll come back, and I'll see if I can tow the boat, like with my cloud, and if not, I'll see if we can make some makeshift oars or something. But I think we need to kill the motor, or else we're going to end up having to fight some water creatures. That does not sound fun to me.
Sounds good.
Okay,
I'm all offended,
so
sorry.
I thought we were at the dock.
you did not tell me if you landed or not, so I was just assuming y'all were still in the water.
Yeah, I thought we were approaching.
Yeah.
Oh crap.
Okay, so Bill, do you return to the boat once they kill the motor?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm going to try to hold it and pull them with my cloud, and if I can't, then I'll figure something else out.
Okay.
Actually, I will tattoo manipulate like a long bar with a hook and just like tow them and like fly.
Okay.
Do you want me to roll for that?
I think I do. I think I want you to roll to take the risk.
Okay. That'd be mainly imbuing, right? Or would it be ride the planes?
I think you could add some for both of them.
Okay. Before we do that, I'm going to check 9 lives. No, yeah, so that would be a tattoo manipulation and probably cloud surfing.
Tattoo manipulation and cloud surfing. Okay, so take the risk with a +2.
Wait, can I use cloud surfing since I just used it?
I think it's fine because you're using it differently.
Right. Okay, and it's out of combat?
Yeah.
Okay. So +2.
That rule is just so we can be more creative.
More fluid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be a limitation unless creativity is inspired by the limitation. You know.
I'm also going to use, I feel like it's kind of important, so I'm going to use a help point with Ren, and the way that I'm going to get him to help is I'm going to get him to...
So, I remember we used help and hurt points wrong one time. We used them like on ourselves, but the way you use, like if Ren was pulling, you could use a help point on him to give him some type of bonus, and you would describe it.
I used them once on you.
Okay.
So,
I used all
+2?
my hit points on
Yeah.
you. Turn.
Okay.
Yeah, we needed it. I will take that interference
Ooh,
any day of the week. +11. And I have 9 lives,
What? No, you did
which
not.
allows me to, when I roll a take the risk,
Nope.
it's a
It
dynamite.
doesn't. Nope. So it has like specific moves for each one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting. Okay,
I still don't. I don't.
it keeps it in failure. There is growth.
No, because if I'm going to take this as an improvement, then I think a successful take the risk is a dynamite. Because why else would I take the improvement?
So you could get the dynamite because right now it's not dynamite.
It's not unlocked.
Success. Yeah. It's not
So you have
unlocked.
to like unlock in the skill tree.
Yeah, to make it real good.
Okay.
Okay, so Bill, narrate. How does this look? What do you do? Because you succeed.
All right. So I float above the boat and I tinker, like I think for a second, and I say, And then I like feel the inside of the front of the boat, and I'm like, I could probably hook something here. So I like make like a hook shape comes off of my finger and hooks, and then I just like float backwards, like a little ways, and then I like like as I'm floating backward, the tattoo's like going up my hand and like all the way up to my wrist, and that's like the length. And then I just kind of like clench my fist and like pull, and the boat moves a little bit. So I slowly start like floating off, towing them.
So you pull them to the dock. A half-sunk ship juts out of the water, held afloat by a fraying barnacled rope. A loading crane lies torn from its mooring and pushed to the side with support beams twisted and rent as if by monstrous hands. Thane, Esther, and Bill, and Rin, I guess you too would have this. You are torn back to the fight on top of the skyscraper with the crane rent and twisted and thrown to its side, and you come back. There's a warehouse that rests nearby, but its roof is caved in, and the inside seems to be nothing but ruins. There's a dirt road that winds up the central hill on this island, and there are some buildings leering down at you through the mist.
I guess first we need to check out that warehouse, see if there's anything lurking around there.
Ren, this is not, or Zach, this is not an attack on your character. But is your head glowing right now?
No.
Faintly. He keeps it hood
like,
up.
yeah, my hood's always on, so it's like it's not glowing.
Do you have like a beanie or something that you could pull down?
I have a hood.
Yeah. The main part of his head that glows is this node, kind of like back.
Okay.
I don't know what part of your head this is. Yeah, this picture right here that I can't see, but he mostly keeps his hood up over it.
Okay.
But yeah, it is glowing.
Okay.
Very faintly.
Yeah.
Why did you ask that?
Because if it's pitch black here, then any light will be like visible. I have some duct tape.
Can it duct tape the hood to his head?
Because that's not going to draw attention.
It's so loud. It sounds like a duck.
So what were you? What kind of ducks do you hang around with? So what are y'all doing?
So am I the only person who saw the faint light, or can they see it from where we're standing?
From this vantage point, they can't see it. Like you can see like maybe that's the top of the lighthouse, because it's the dock and then like a cliff that goes up, and it looks like that lighthouse is at the top of the cliff, but from where you're standing you can only see the top of that lighthouse and it's not lit up or anything.
All right, so there's a light next to the lighthouse, but based on what I saw in the water, we don't know what's here, so we should probably tread lightly. Not like we did at the construction site. A little more lightly.
I would say I was treading lightly. Like, I would definitely tread lightly here. I mean, thankfully this crane was not knocked down at me.
Oh.
More by with someone hands like yours.
We're gonna like get to the top of the day. It's gonna be like, there's a new shiny crane.
Never used before. Begging for someone to
keys in the ignition. And it's faintly whispering. The machine part of it. Ren, come to me. In Deja's voice.
Yeah, use me, Ren.
What?
Hey, yeah, it's creepy.
Okay, that's good.
Anyway, so what are y'all doing?
I think we're gonna sneak up, right?
Yeah.
Sneak up onto the island.
We're gonna go to first.
Well, right now you said we're at the bottom of the base of a cliff.
Yeah.
You have to like get up the cliff.
And there, you're on the dock, and there's that warehouse right there that seems collapsed and caved in. And then there's a dirt road that kind of goes up, and you can see it kind of curving up the island up to the top.
It's like an old town road.
Nope.
So, you said there was a light next to the lighthouse?
Yeah, there's like a really faint light. It's not like a lighthouse light. Except somebody's up there.
Okay. And there's this, like, cliff between us and it that we'd have to climb up over?
Or take the road. Those are your...
How fast is the road compared to just climbing over the cliff?
The difference between walking a road and climbing a cliff.
Oh, good grief, David.
What is this, a text test?
Well, I would think we would need some gear if we were going to go up the cliff.
Well, I was going to make a ladder.
Yeah, we have vines, tattoo spikes.
Right, there's so much nature here. I'm so excited.
David's gonna be like, actually,
It's
all rock.
It's just concrete.
There's absolutely nothing green.
It's all rock and it's always raining.
Your worst nightmare.
And there's so many surface thoughts that you can't distinguish.
Sure. And there's no technology anywhere.
Actually, can you... We know that you can detect surface thoughts, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, never mind.
Okay, so do we want to climb the ladder up this cliff or walk the bones?
Where would the ladder be?
Well, you see, I would make it, right?
Out of what?
You see a vine kind of come up over the rock, and it like wraps around Ren's leg and just pulls him down, and he falls down, and then it like goes back.
Good gosh. That was uncalled for.
Okay, I'm gonna try to make a ladder.
Okay. What move do you think this would be?
Change that again.
I think so, yeah.
Plant growth, the more the merrier. Because
Go.
lots of stuff.
You have -2
Yeah.
I have -4 for Esther. And -2 for Ren.
Oh, it's because y'all been rocky lately.
We're better now. Ha ha! I got
She thinks we're better.
13. Oh, ouch.
13. So you use...
This is the last episode. We really should work on our friendship.
Not in real life, though. Right? Okay.
I think so. When someone said, I was like, oh my gosh, that was really mean.
She is
Didn't get
right.
offended.
No, not in real life.
So did you roll... You rolled a 10 plus?
Yes.
Okay, so you get a minimum of 2 juice. What do you want to use that juice on?
Create the ladder.
Okay.
And then, I guess hide the effect so no one else can see the ladder that I've made.
Okay.
This one.
Okay. So you... what does it look like? Describe it to us.
So you start to see, like, on the rocks of the cliff, there's different plants kind of poking out and, like, algae and stuff. And so you kind of start to see them, like, intertwine together and create this ladder that you can climb up. But there's enough brush in the way that anybody else who walked up would just see it as, like, normal plants on the rock.
Cool. So this ladder forms itself going up the cliff face. Who goes first?
I'll go first.
Okay. Bill starts climbing. Who's after Bill?
I'll go after Bill.
Okay. And then Ren.
I'll go up next, just in case I have trouble.
Okay. And then Esther. Okay. All right. So you climb up the side of this. As you're climbing, you start to get a better view of the island at the higher up you get. And from the from your vantage point, you see a water tower. But like most things that you've seen on this island, it's kind of listing and buckled in the legs. And it almost looks like the top of it has just been torn off. As you're climbing, one of you glances over and you see things moving in the top of this water tower. And then you see this human form stand up, and then they lift out their arms and you see these wings. And then it takes flight and it starts to circle the island. It comes near to where you are, but you kind of cling tight to this hidden ladder. It just passes by, not seeing you. You continue to climb up. You get to the kind of crest of the hill, and there is a large building over to the right, kind of obscured by the mist. And then over to your left, at the peak of this hill, is a small 2-story house. Next to the house is a towering lighthouse that is unlit. As the dirt road meets the lawn, there's a mailbox, leaning a little where it stands, and over stenciled white letters that read Warden are crudely drawn letters in red spelling out Master. As you are standing here, you see that building, you see the lighthouse, you see the 2-story house, and you see shapes moving around in the mist.
Well, shall we go to the master house? See what trouble is going to come to us?
Can you check what's in it?
Yes, I can.
I have a question about the house.
Sure.
So everything else is like falling apart. Is the house like all intact?
It seems better put together than others. In fact, yes, it is. It is surprisingly intact.
Would this be an investigate to like scan the house to see what's in there?
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, you want to roll investigate with +1.
Scanner vision, and then I was also thinking like flashes of the future of like what could possibly be in this house.
I don't think flashes of the future would work.
Or like us being in there, like what could possibly happen.
Okay. Go ahead. +2.
8.
8. So with an investigative 8, you get 2 clues. What 2 questions do you want to ask?
How many life forms are in the house?
None.
No life forms.
No.
I'm gonna big with the last question.
Okay. So go ahead and take one of the status cards. Write. I believe for. Oh gosh, it's been so long since we played, y'all. Yeah, the markers are there. But I think you write where you got the clue and how you got it, and then however you spin the clue has to go back to that time you scanned. So Ren, you activate. You tap your glasses. They flare to life. You scan. No life forms. Strange. But as he taps his glasses, they light up. And in the darkness, it's pretty bright. From further down the hill, you hear and you see 2 shapes moving towards you in the mist.
Esther gets on the skip and goes home.
Climbs back down the ladder.
See you later.
It's like in Link to the Past, whenever you go up the stairs, everything pauses. So like if there's something about to hit you, you just go up the stairs and it pauses. And then you're up here out of reach. So Esther just pauses and goes down the stairs.
It's time to go. It's time to go
Link to the
home
Past
now.
style. Anyways, they're coming towards you, 2 shapes.
Wait, from the bottom of the cliff?
Not the bottom of the cliff, so you were up at the top. And there were shapes kind of over in the mist up here with you. Of course, where you are, it's not at the highest level because you're kind of midway between that building over to your right and the actual pinnacle up top with the lighthouse. And so they're running up. They're still on the same kind of level as you. Like they're not running from the dock because this island's pretty big. but they are running from, like, let's say 100 yards away.
Esther readies her gun.
Okay.
Ren readies his gun as well.
Is the house close enough that we could run into the house?
You could.
Alright, there's nothing in the house, and looks like I have alerted some creatures. You guys want to run into the house?
Sure.
Esther's already taken off.
Yeah.
Okay. So Esther gets to the house first. You slam open the door.
Gonna kill me.
You jump inside. Who's next? Faye is right after her. Then Ren, and Bill brings up the rear. Bill, as you are coming inside, there is like a little nice white picket fence around this house. And as you turn and you're like almost getting ready to get your shield in case they chase after you, you see these two monstrous shapes run up to the picket fence. One has the carapace of a beetle, but his hands are like these like Wolverine claws, like not the snicket, the animal, these thick Wolverine claws. The other is has the legs of a rabbit and the head of a snake, the body of a human. And so bounding up to this white picket fence, they stop. And the snake hisses at you, digging its hands into the picket fence and leaning over, putting its chest on top of the fence and hissing at you, but not crossing. The beetle Wolverine kind of paces back and forth with his claws raking into the ground angrily, not crossing the fence. Hello, friends, and welcome to the mid-roll section of episode 53 of Mistconceptions. I am your host and MC, David White. And once again, I want to apologize for the audio quality of this episode. Whenever we went down to Austin to record these episodes, of course, you know, we have to take down our equipment, pack it up, and then take it with us. Then we have to set it back up. And in all of that shuffle, I did not check the settings on my GarageBand, and I did not realize that I had my headphones on, and I was listening to everybody's audio that was coming through the microphone setup. But what I didn't realize is that GarageBand was set to record from my laptop mic. So this is my fault, and I'm very frustrated with myself, and I'm very sorry that this has happened. And you know, I have said this before, there are like thousands of actual play podcasts for different RPGs out there, and we want to be one of the good ones. We want to be one of the best ones. And whenever we have episodes like this, I feel like I am failing at that dream. So I'm very frustrated with myself. And you know, despite my frustration with the audio quality, episode 53 and episode 54, because unfortunately it took me 2 episodes to look over at the screen and say, hey, those audio levels aren't quite right. Episode 53 and episode 54, for all of their audio quality shoddiness, I'm really proud of the content we made for these episodes. I think there's a lot of great role-playing, a lot of great moments that are still to come. But I mean, it's my fault, and I'm very sorry. And to kind of make it up to you, because I do not want you to have to listen to episode 53 and then wait 2 weeks for episode 54 to come out, and then wait another 2 weeks before episode 55 comes out with good audio quality. What I'm going to do is I'm going to release episode 53 and episode 54. I'm going to release them back to back. That means episode 53 is coming out now on July 15th. And then episode 54 will come out the next Monday on July 22nd. And then episode 55 will come out on our next scheduled release date, July 29th. So you're going to get 3 episodes of Misconceptions back to back. And I hope this kind of makes up for having to sit through some not good audio quality. And once again, I do apologize for that. It is totally my fault. Speaking of the trip down to Austin, it would not have been possible for us to do that without the help of our generous patrons. And I want to give a shout out to 2 new patrons on our Patreon. And the first shout out I want to give is, oh boy, this username. Thank you to David White's Gimp. Oh man, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this username, but I do know how I'm supposed to feel about their patronage, and that is thankful. So, David White's Gimp, thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon. And yeah, I don't know what to say besides that. I also want to give a shout out to Stuart McKay. Stuart McKay has been a patron of ours for a while now, but he just recently upped his pledge on Patreon. So Stuart McKay, thank you so much for supporting us for as long as you have. And also, thank you for deciding to up your generosity towards us. That really means a lot. If you are not able to support us monetarily on Patreon, we totally get it. We totally understand. But we would like it if you could support us in other non-monetary ways, like leaving us a rating and review on iTunes. I've noticed we've gotten a few new ratings on iTunes. We haven't gotten any reviews, but those really help because when people see our show and they say, hey, this is a 5-star podcast. Hey, it has 30-something reviews that are pretty good, so I think I'll listen to this. So it helps us kind of like word of mouth. We really appreciate that. Also sharing us on social media, sharing our episodes, our little teaser videos that we put out every Friday before our episode comes out. And kind of along that same vein, we do have a YouTube channel where we post our videos so people can listen to them there. So if you listen to us on YouTube, I would really appreciate it if you could give us a like on those episodes that you listen to, because the liking mechanic on YouTube is very important because it increases our visibility. So if you listen to us on YouTube, like those videos. If you don't listen to us on YouTube, I would still appreciate it if you could just, find some time to just go through our YouTube channel and kind of spam the like button on those videos. It would really help us out, really increase our visibility, so that when people Google, City of Mist actual plays or something like that, that we will pop up. Well, I think I've done enough talking and enough apologizing, so how about we get back to that episode? Inside. The first floor contains typical furnishings. There is a parlor. You can see a kitchen, a living room. Around the corner, there might be a master bedroom. There's a staircase that leads up to a second floor. But you look, and it's oddly quiet and mostly empty and pretty pristine.
Is there a basement?
You look around. There is, you could roll and investigate if you want.
Okay. I'll roll and investigate. The only thing I would have that would be useful for investigate would be stay focused.
Okay.
Nope, I don't see anything.
So that was a 5?
Could I use my banked question to see if there's a basement or see if there's anything hidden in the house?
You sure could. So, Bill, Ren, I'll get to your banked clue in a second. But, Bill, you do a quick once around of this space, and you go to turn on the lights, but the lights don't turn on. You keep looking. And as you're looking, you kind of bump something, and you turn, and you're not quick enough to catch this ceramic vase that just falls and shatters. Outside, those 2 beastmen that were trying to get over the fence let out this roar. And I actually need you to roll a face danger against a shaken 1 status. Do you have anything that could prevent you from being afraid?
I used to. Back when I was a car dealer. Now, I don't think so.
Okay. Oof. Okay. So go ahead and take a shaken 1 status. You hear their roar and it just the tense situation. Your nerves are tense. The vase fell over. They're roaring outside. It scares you. And then from further in the island, you hear more roars echo up. Rin, what's your question?
Is there anything hidden in the house that you can't see?
Sure. So as you are cycling through, you see the different kind of visual spectrums you can see. And one of your visual spectrums is an electrical spectrum, and you're able to see electrical wiring. All of it up here is dead. But then you see electrical wiring leading down underneath the house. You walk over to where this electrical wiring is, you pull back a carpet, and there's a trap door. You lift up the trap door, and there are these wooden steps that go down, and these little lights that are hung on the wall going further and further in. And as all of this is happening, Esther and Faye, I guess, you notice that the lights in the house flicker for just a second, then go out. But Bill, you just flipped the switch, and there was no electricity.
I think someone's here.
Yeah, I think we should probably go down in this creepy basement area.
That seems like a great idea.
Well, it'd be one way to escape the roaring beast outside that Bill seemed to really piss off.
How do we go down and check the basement without exposing ourselves as we walk down? Anybody who's down there can just shoot us as we go down.
We'll have to take that chance.
Only hands up, obviously.
Or we could send Bill down and Bill can take that chance.
I can go with the tower shield.
Okay, I'll go after you.
Well, Esther, shall we go?
Apparently.
I'm going to make a tower shield. I'm going to prepare.
Okay. You already have it out since that's one of your tags. So the wooden steps eventually turn to stone steps that lead under the mansion into a cavernous underbelly. Electrical torches are drilled into the cavern wall and connected by wires running along the cave roof. The lights flicker occasionally, and from further into the cave, you hear pained screaming. You continue down this tunnel. The electrical wires from the house overhead with these electrical torches occasionally flickering and going out and then coming back. And then you get to an opening. There's a domed room with 2 paths branching off from it. The floor here is sticky wherever you step. A pair of steel operating tables lie in the center of the room. Cruel operating instruments lie in a tray neatly next to the tables. Wooden shelves that seem taken from the house upstairs hold beakers and chemicals of all sorts. Pained screams fill the room occasionally, tearing down a hall that branches off to the north. Electrical wiring also covers the cave roof down this hall. There's another tunnel that branches off with a single electrical wire trailing off in that direction. So you have one cave that goes to the north and then kind of one that goes off to the left. Most of the wiring seems going to the north. The pained screaming is coming from the north. And then there's a single electrical wire that goes to the left room.
Well, shall we look out and see where this poor soul is screaming from?
Are we sure it's just one?
Probably not.
I mean, if I had to guess, it's like one area is for experimentation, and then the other one is like the private quarters of whoever master is.
Well,
Downstairs under the house.
so private quarters of the master then?
No. I could.
Should we split up?
No,
Yes.
it's the party.
You want to go with who?
I'm not going with men.
You want to go together, Faye?
No.
You go to the master's quarters.
Why are you making this sexual?
Does he mean you're gonna get sexual or
No.
Yeah.
It's sexual.
It's just assumed, though.
Yeah.
It's just assumed. We could do the same split up as last time if you want to work on your friendship.
Okay, which one are y'all going to take?
Where? Would you like to go? Oh, where?
Let's go to the screams.
Okay.
Alright, screams it is.
Bill and Ren sneak off to the tunnel to the right and north, and women, you are going to the left.
Yep.
Okay. Faye and Esther, even before you get to this room, it reeks of decay and rot. There are mournful lows and bleats that greet you as you enter. Rusting iron cages, none reaching higher than your hip, hold animals of all sorts. Dogs, cats, pigs, sheep, cows, even an alligator, along with more exotic beasts. The horrid stench here wafts up from open wounds and gashes on all of these still living animals. Some are missing limbs and appendages. Some seem tampered with, such as a pig with a back leg replaced with a human foot from the ankle down. These pitiful creatures have hardly enough energy to cower as you enter, although a few do try to hide in transparent corners of their holding cells.
These poor creatures. Are they sick?
I don't think they were sick to start with. This is all outside of a door.
So you left that room with Bill and Ren, you went to the left, and there's not a door, it's just another cave that you enter into. Smaller, much smaller than the operating cave, but no less crammed.
I'm gonna try to talk to them.
Oh, okay.
Because, so Faye's thinking about the other creatures we've encountered, and, Nick was able to talk and stuff like that. So she's just gonna try to talk.
Okay. Do you have that ability?
I have a reason with animals tag.
Okay. I would say you could roll and investigate,
Okay.
and however well you roll, that could be like how much information you can get out of them, how many questions you can ask them.
Okay. So I'm gonna roll investigate with reason with animals tag. And would this be a convince?
No. Well, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to get information out of them, or are you trying to convince them to do something?
Just get information.
Okay.
I also have a looks harmless.
I think that could apply.
Okay, so +2.
Okay.
12.
Wow. Okay. So on the 12, you get 2 questions.
Okay. I'm gonna go up to the dog one.
Okay.
Hey, buddy. Who did this to you?
Me, man. Your coat.
Okay. Why did he do it to you?
I don't know. And he starts to lick this gash in his side, and you see that he's licked it for a while, and most of the fur has just been wicked away.
Wicked away.
But it's just this open, festering wound.
Could Esther hear him? Like,
No, this is I picture this as like a kind of a psychic mental link you have. She did see him start to worry at his wound.
Okay. I don't entirely know what's going on. He said that some mean man in a coat did this to them, but he doesn't know why.
There's some messed up stuff on this island.
Do we try to release them? Do we try to help them? I don't
think releasing them would help them. There's no way they can fend for themselves in this state.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything nearby that I could use to help heal them.
We can fix everything. I know you don't like that answer.
Esther, you hear a whimpering from the cage in front of you. But Faye, you hear a save me.
I think we should open all the doors.
What's the game plan after that?
I don't know. But at least if we let them free, maybe they can decide their fate.
Like the cage is locked.
There are rusty padlocks on each one. And it looks like each one needs a key.
Great. Do you know how to pick the lock?
Is that something your dad would talk?
Aren't you streetwise?
Yeah, I mean, I've got some of that. But these are old locks. But I can try.
Okay. I will say you don't have to roll. You start picking at one and it pops off. I would assume that dog cage. You open it up, it falls down. He's very hesitant to come out. And you, with your psychic connection, you know the reason he's so hesitant is to come out is because every time that cage opens, something bad happens to him. But Esther keeps going to each cage, unlocking each one, and you can feel the hesitation from all of these animals. Let's cut over to Bill and Ren. Bill and Ren, following the wiring, you come into a bigger room. There's a sheet of plexiglass that separates you from what is happening on the other side. You see a man in a white lab coat with dark goggles over his eyes, a balding head, strawberry-shaped nose, a very small man. And there is this vat in front of him, a transparent vat full of milky green liquid. And there's a shape inside of it. As soon as you step in, you hear and you turn around and see a boar-headed man and a man with parts of a gorilla and an ostrich on him. And they step behind you, blocking the way out or in. But as you enter, the doctor speaks. My mission here is too important to stop. He says this without looking at you. They tried to discredit me, shame me, stop me in my homeland, but my mission was too important to stop. I'm doing God's work. Don't you see? This is a holy project, ordained by the tenements of life, of biology. Mankind's story is one of self-progression and enlightenment. So often, we invent what we think we need to better ourselves. We were so blind. The Creator gave us everything we needed to become perfect. It is all around us, lying dormant and waiting in the beasts of the earth. Only those bold enough to imagine such paths will unlock these secrets. Like a child in his playroom, we must pull apart the building blocks of other structures to perfect our own. Those I have killed will not be in vain. Each experiment led me closer to the truth, to unlocking the perfect specimen. At this, he taps the tube of viscous liquid in front of him. Even if the Cabal only wants me to make them an army, it will be a perfect army. Now he turns around to look at you. Those creatures outside, for all their ferocity and vigor, are just stepping stones to perfection. This one, he pats the bat again. This one was supplied to me by the wizard. A hound for the mafia, and an even more stalwart constitution. He seemed familiar with what I did to him, and endured far more than any previous subject. He smiles simply. Its prior manifestation probably edged his survival further than it should have been. But with all the grafting, splicing, and operating, he is finally finished. He pushes a button, and the liquid behind him starts to siphon from the tube. Stand forth, and be the first to witness the new race, the perfect and holy evolution of man, and subsequently die at his hands. As the murky liquid drains, the figure inside lurches to life. With massive hands, it shatters the glass container and falls to the floor. A massive, muscular frame supports two giant bat-like wings. The green sludge sloughs off the figure's ashen skin, even as it splits. And from within the figure's body comes a glowing, stoking flame. Arms and legs end with a variety of shearing claws, covered in fur, as the heat within the person grows hotter. A face twisted up in a transplanted snout looks at you with eyes bloodshot and yellowing. You recognize those eyes. Scarred and malformed as they are by countless sutures and scars, a mouth full of canine and reptilian teeth opens as a deluge of boiling bile bubbles out of his lips and down his chin. The eyes implore you as the tortured face of Jimmy the Butcher says, "Kill me." End of episode.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this week's episode of Misconceptions. Don't forget, our next episode will release next Monday, July 22nd, so you won't even have to wait 2 weeks to pick up where that cliffhanger left off. If you have social media, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter. You can get up-to-date information about the show, behind-the-scenes pictures, videos, previews, or just chat with us. That's cool too. If you have an email and you would like to email us, you can do so at mistconceptionspod@gmail.com. This show is wholly supported by the generous donations of our patrons on Patreon. If you would like to see this show get better and to become part of that supportive family and network, please consider clicking on the link below to become a patron. City of Mist is an RPG created by Son of Oak. You can find more of their products like the brand new starter set at sonofoak.com. The Misconceptions theme music was composed by Aaron Wharton. You can find more of his music at aaronwharton.net. That's it for this week's episode of Misconceptions. Be sure to check back here next Monday for episode 54, and then the Monday after that for episode 55. But between now and then, keep it nerdy, y'all.